Is tourism in Thailand dropping at an alarming rate? Let's find out. Sarawang acknowledged that the current foreign tourism market in Thailand is reaching a critical point, with concerns shared by both the ministry and private sector. However, he noted that the situation is still manageable if swift preventative action is taken immediately. Sarawang also added that since the beginning of 2025, arrivals from some major markets such as China have declined. However, revenue from tourism has increased compared to the same period in 2024, indicating that tourists are spending more money per person. So what are some of the main factors that are contributing to a downfall in the number of arriving tourists? Well, there's a main few that have been addressed online, and nobody's quite certain exactly what the cause is, but some of these could be contributing to it very well. First thing is first is the tariff war between America and China. It really isn't benefiting anybody right now, and I think this is one of the main leading problems when it comes to the tourism here, because the vast majority of decline is Chinese tourists. I think a lot of them have pulled back on their travels because of the financial uncertainty. China is also trying to convince people to practice more domestic tourism instead of international tourism, which may also be a factor in this as well, but it's kind of a toss-up, and it's unknown as of right now if this is one of the main reasons why there's a decline in Chinese tourism in Thailand right now. But in time, we'll be able to tell and be able to figure out the main source of the issue. Another reason some of the tourism may be on the decline is because the decrease in the number of days for visa-free arrivals for certain countries. Thailand is planning to reduce visa-free stay period from 60 down to 30 days for many different countries here, and this is kind of aims to prevent the misuse of the visa exemption, but I think it actually has a negative impact, because many people that have multiple months off per year, their downtime, like to travel, and maybe they like to travel for up to 60 days. Some of these people are going to start to look into other options if they're required to get visas up front. Before I actually moved to Thailand, the main reason I picked Thailand over Vietnam was because Vietnam required a visa, and I looked into the visa and it just looked confusing. I'd never filled one out before, and since Thailand didn't require a visa and I could come here for 60 days and extend it for 90 days without applying for a visa, I chose Thailand. At that point in time, I fell in love with Thailand, and then I ended coming back for the long run. But who's to say that had I went to Vietnam, I wouldn't be in Vietnam right now? Because maybe had I gone there first, would I ever have come to Thailand? Thailand originally extended the 30-day visa-free stay to 60 days because they were trying to boost the tourism numbers, and it worked. As tourism was booming after they did this, it has gradually been on the incline for years, but I actually think if they do the opposite and they cut back, that it's going to do just that. It's going to cut back on the tourism numbers because of the long-term stayers are going to look into other options. The point being is that people that do extended stays, if they're required to get visas to go here and here and here and here, and Thailand kind of does away with their long-term visa-free stay, people are going to turn away from the option and potentially pick somewhere else if they have to go through the visa process anyways. Some other things that could potentially lead up to kind of a tourism downfall is some of the dirty practices in Thailand here. You have kind of a lot of scammy people that target tourists, like the tuk-tuk drivers, taxi drivers that sit along the high tourism areas and try to give people these astronomical rates to get them like a kilometer down the road for 700 baht is completely unacceptable, and from what I read when I first moved here, actually an illegal practice. They're supposed to be using the meter. The tuk-tuks, on the other hand, are obviously different as they're not metered, but this practice in general is kind of getting annoying when you walk past those people and they're constantly asking you, where are you going? Where are you going? I'm not going anywhere, brother. I live right down the street. I live here. So in time, that kind of stuff gets annoying, and you're trying to find yourself avoiding those types of areas. I think a lot of people that come here once choose not to come back again because they don't want to deal with that anymore. You also have some issues with some of these restaurants and these local medical clinics where they charge non-locals double the price. This is something that's been going on for a while. You may walk into a restaurant and look at two separate menus if you have the opportunity to grab both of them at the same time. One meal on the Thai menu could be 100 baht. And on the English menu, it could be 200 baht for the same thing. Some people are getting fed up with that BS because if you go to Canada or if you go to China, you don't see those kinds of practices. And the last thing I heard about this was that the Thai government was going to try to put an end to that because it's an unfair practice. But is that actually going to happen? Who knows? I've been here long enough. I know the places to go and the places not to go to avoid that type of BS. And so obviously for me, it's not an issue, but for people that are coming here expecting to pay $2 for a meal and they go into a restaurant and they leave spending $30 for a couple of you to eat, they probably gave you the tourist menu. They gypped you. So at the end of the day, I think there's multiple different things contributing to the downfall of tourism, including obviously you pay more than them because you're not a local. Yeah, that's stuff like that is going to destroy a business when the word gets out because tourists will quit going there. So hopefully they put an end to that eventually. The scummy tuk-tuk drivers and taxi drivers that are trying to charge these astronomical rates to somebody because they're American or Chinese, that's another reason that's turning people away. The uncertainty of change in the immigration process and the visa, like let's say you book a trip here for 6 weeks, okay, 1.5 months, and then all of a sudden a week later you find out that they just changed the visa free on arrival from 60 days down to 30. So now what do? You got to go online and apply for a visa last minute. I think people are turning away from coming here, the long-term stayers, because of the uncertainty of what could happen at any time that could potentially disrupt their travel. But, you know, I hope for the best for Thailand and for everybody else. I hope that everybody feels financially stable at some point in time, gets the opportunity to travel around the world, not only to Thailand, but just anywhere. And hopefully tourism will pick up here again to help with the development of Thailand, because over the last few years, I have seen a major change, and it does feel futuristic here in comparison to, say, Las Vegas. I feel like Las Vegas is lagging in comparison to Bangkok, which is absolutely insane. And a lot of people in America, because I moved here from America, a lot of people in America can't comprehend that or understand that because they've always thought of Thailand as being a third world country. But let's hope for the best in any case. Either way, as for me, it doesn't have an impact on my life. When it slows down here, my life actually becomes a little bit more convenient because I utilize the Sky Train and, you know, the Blue Line on a daily basis. And when the tourism is high, it's almost unusable. The public transportation system is outgrown in the hot times of tourism. So when the tourism is low here, it makes traveling around town extremely more convenient. So, you know, you get benefits, pros and cons to both sides of this, whether it's the development of Thailand and that additional tourism income, or it's the convenience of life for us locals that actually live here. And, you know, either way, I'm game for whatever happens in the end. But besides that, if you are aware of any other contributing factors to the downfall in tourism numbers here in Thailand, definitely put some information in the comment section below. I'm interested in learning more and trying to figure out what's really going on here and what's actually affecting these numbers to this dramatic extent. But thanks for watching this video, and I will see you next time. See ya.